You fucking prick.
Oh, heads up, bro. Heads up. We're live.
You live?
What's up, brother?
It's been a little bit. How you been?
Oh, it's been great. Why don't you start cursing? You were just cursing off the air. Why don't you start cursing for the people? Let them know.
No, man, just bitching about life. Life's been tough, man. Working a shit ton of hours, just moved into a new house, ready to break down some fights and potentially drink some beer. How about you?
Well, I'm too far away from for any beer at this point, so I have 2 glasses of water in front of me.
You're gonna make me drink alone, like a fucking lunatic? Come on.
I'll tell you that there's beer in here, if you want.
You're an asshole. Look at that view. Is that Manhattan?
That's actually probably Hoboken.
Oh, okay.
Hoboken, New Jersey. Draftkings has some offices there.
Really?
I actually applied for a couple of jobs at Draftkings.
Nice.
So I'll tell you what I did real quick, and then we'll get into this.
Hey, do some lobbying and help them find a different fucking scoring system, because Fight Metric is driving me absolutely bonkers.
Well, it has been pretty bad. It has been pretty bad recently. But I applied for some jobs at DraftKings, Fanduel, and Barstool is coming out with a sportsbook.
I heard about that. Yes.
So I applied at all 3, and I have a nice little marketing idea for podcasts. So I'm waiting for. I pitched it to one guy at DraftKings, and I had a virtual interview with FanDuel, but I haven't really heard back yet. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I got like a little podcast marketing idea. I'd like to kind of put it together with a team of guys, but we'll see what happens.
Nice.
I don't want to give too many details on the air, but I'll talk to you off the air about this.
All right, good shit, man. So the Detroit casinos now have sports books. I don't know if you heard about that at the end of March. So never really got a chance to head out there because quarantine and all that. But once the smoke clears, I'm excited to get out there and start betting.
Well, me and my Jersey boys, brethren, are headed to Atlantic City in 2 weeks for the first time since it opened up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll be staying down there, play some craps. I'm a big fan of craps. I got to roll the dice. And we'll go from there. Now, you said they have sports books. Do they have online betting? Do they have mobile betting?
Not yet.
Okay,
no, you have to go to the casino.
So supposedly that's what I'm really looking for in other states, because I think that betting is just going to take off the minute it becomes mobile. I think it's only mobile in 11 states right now.
I agree. I think Michigan's fighting it right now.
Yeah, and again, it's just a matter of figuring out what that money is going to be used for. But you know how politicians are; they want that money. So at some point, they're going to get that. And especially in this day and age, with tax revenue getting destroyed by coronavirus and all the stuff, businesses shutting down. I mean, it's only a matter of time. But listen, nobody tuned in here to hear us talk about tax revenue from online gambling. So let's get into this card, bro.
You're talking like a bunch of grown-ups.
Yeah, like we have a clue what's going on here. All right, so let's add this in here. CG, we have first fight here: Chris Gutierrez and Cody Durden. Durden. I'm gonna set. Look at him. He went right to the bit. The minute we talk fights, he went right.
Don't judge me. It's been a hell of a day.
Nah, I'm not judging you at all.
Why
don't you tell me a little bit about this fight? Because I know you're a big fan of Durden here.
I am. I'm coming in hot with the underdog right from the get. I was watching some of Cody Durden's fights, and he basically has all the attributes that I look for. High pressure fighting, can strike with power, good wrestling. The guy's 11-2. He has 10 finishes, and he can wrestle, and Gutierrez can be taken down. He only has 66% takedown defense. And my concern with Gutierrez is, and I feel like a lot of people are on him, and I want to say it's because the recency bias from his last fight where he beat Vince Morales with calf kicks, essentially. But El Guapo is 9,300, and he's going to need a finish to make value. In his 2 fights that he won by decision over De Freitas and McDonald, he scored 64 points in both of those fights. I mean, Gutierrez doesn't offer any grappling upside whatsoever, lands just over 4 strikes per minute. So, I mean, if you're going to take a shot on Gutierrez, you have to hope that he's going to finish. And Durden's never been TKO'd. He's been subbed once and lost his other fight by decision. So I think the value is definitely on Durden. And I think I have to maybe take a step back, take into consideration that Gutierrez is going to be the toughest fighter that he's ever fought. But I like his upside. I know Durden's a couple inches shorter, but the reach is about the same. Durden's a southpaw, and I just like his intensity. So, yeah, my lean is Durden.
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie. He's this is his UFC debut. I mean, this should be a good striking fight, and he looks game in this position. And again, like you said about Gutierrez, he's going to strike. I mean, he had those great leg kicks against Vince Morales. I mean, what was that, second round? He debilitated him in that.
Yeah, put up like 125 points on DraftKings.
And Durden had
the optimal.
And Durden has some good leg kicks himself, some good body kicks. This is going to be a striking fight, kickboxing fight. I like it. And again, I have no bet. I think the line is too wide on Gutierrez. But if you're looking for a dog play, I do like Durden. You didn't bet this yet, did you?
No, but I'm getting damn close. Honestly, I'm getting damn close because Gutierrez was taken down twice by Barcelos, twice by De Freitas. You know, McDonald, who he beat in his first UFC victory, he's not a UFC caliber fighter at all.
Right.
That De Freitas fight was very close. Could have gone either way. And, you know, that Morales victory, I'll give him credit for that. I mean, to essentially make somebody quit from calf kicks, that is impressive. And I'm a calf kick guy. I think it's a great technique. So I respect it, but, you know, Morales gave him way too much space, and I don't think Durden's going to give him that space. So I just think that there's a lot of value on Durden. But let's see if he can take this step up in competition and execute.
Yeah, and you know, he's put together a lot of wins in a row. I actually watched the kickboxing fight with De Herrera, and you know, he strikes, he brings it, he outstruck him. De Herrera, don't get me wrong, he did fade in that fight. So you know, later in the fight, he was able to kind of have his way a little bit. But yeah, I think he's game here. I think this is, you know, that's a good bet and a good call there. Let's get into this next fight. And again, I have a little bit of a hot take on this one. Jamall Emmers and Timur. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna introduce this one, but I'm on the dog play here. I'm on Emmers.
I tried.
You know, you did. But again, I like the 4-inch reach advantage, 4-inch height advantage. I think that Emmers can keep him at distance, and I really liked how Emmers looked in rounds 2 and 3. I mean, are you gonna tell me that he lost round 2 against Chikadze? I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right. You know, Chikadze.
I'm not disagreeing with you. So I thought Emmers won too, and I think that I'm potentially being a little bit irrational about this because I had a bet on Emmers. Okay? I thought he won the fight, but he drove me fucking crazy throughout that entire fight because he's a wrestler and he wanted to stand and trade with Chikadze. That was a terrible game plan. His corner was telling him to wrestle, and he just stood there and tried to strike. When he went in for the takedown, it was there. He could have gotten the fight to the ground whenever he wanted to for the most part. I just thought his fight IQ was extremely low. Not only that, he's low volume. I think he landed 54 strikes in that fight. So you're going to bank on 18 strikes per round. If he doesn't land a couple takedowns, you're kind of screwed. And from a DraftKings perspective, I don't know if I like either one of these guys, but Emmers, as far as I can see, cannot be trusted. That's where I'm at.
I think you're being a little harsh on him because he basically didn't fight for your money that first time. I'm not going to tell you it was a good game plan. In round 1, he definitely should have won for a takedown earlier, right? He charged in and got countered and kind of got stumbled in round 1. And that's basically how he lost round 1.
Yeah.
There was one shot in round 2, and it's basically how he lost round 2.
So Valiev is a little Tasmanian devil too. I mean, he's quick, explosive, strong, likes to pressure. Mm-hmm. I value his attributes and his style more than Emmers.
Again, he
is a midget though. He's 5'6", going against Emmers, who's 5'10". Emmers has the reach advantage. And don't get me wrong, Emmers is very raw. He has a lot of potential. It's just about finding it between the ears and executing a solid game plan, which I have no confidence that he can do. And Valiev is one of those Dagestani warriors. Valiev's good. I don't know. From the fights that I was watching, I think he's very, very solid.
He trains out of Jackson Wink. He has a win over Chris Gutierrez. He had a couple fights, Pro Fight League, World Series of Fighting, in his past. So 6 straight wins. I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. I just think that Emmers, with the dog play, I think that he can beat him.
So, all right. Yeah, I'm not with you. We disagree on that one.
Yeah, we definitely disagree. That's fine. But you did say that you're kind of holding that loss against him, though.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He was driving me crazy during that fight. So, you know what? I think we disagree on a lot of these fights, Steve.
I think we do too. So let's disagree on the next one. Markus Perez and Eric Spicely. All I'm going to tell you is what I text CG today, and that was Markus Perez by KO TKO. And then you were like, I think you cursed me out at that point. So go ahead.
I think I yelled at you.
Yeah, you did. You yelled in text. So tell me why I'm wrong here.
Man, what did I say exactly? I said you're out of your mind. So just look at the metrics for a second here. Eric Spicely, 3.7 strikes per minute, 1.3 takedowns per fight. Markus Perez, 2.8 strikes per minute, barely over 1 takedown per fight. I don't mind Spicely in this spot. Spicely doesn't look like a fighter, has a body made out of cream cheese, but his Brazilian jiu-jitsu is very good. In his last fight, he lost to Duran Win, still landed 100 significant strikes in a loss. And I guess when I look at his last 4 losses at the UFC level, I mean, Carlos Jr., Meerschaert, Stewart, Win. Now we know what Win is, but I mean, I think those are all somewhat respectable losses. And then you got Perez. The only guys that he's beat at the UFC level were Bakhnovic, who might be the worst fighter in UFC history, and Fluffy Hernandez. So I guess what I'm getting at right now is no, Spicely is not a great UFC fighter. He never will be, but either's Perez. And for that price disparity, I'm going to side with the metrics, and the metrics are leaning towards Spicely.
Do you believe can Spicely beat him in a striking match?
He can outland him.
You really think he's going to outland him the way that Perez fights? I mean, Duran Win. Again, you watched the fight. The reason he had so many strikes against Duran Win is he stopped moving. You know what I mean? He gassed out, so the strikes just added up. I don't think he's going to the ground with Perez. I mean, Perez is very good on the ground. He did sub Ian Heinisch.
Yeah, I mean, Spicely's not bad on the ground either.
No, he's good. What I'm saying is it's very even on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like whoever has top position or better position. I would love to see some scrambles here with these two guys, but you know, Perez.
Yeah, I just
scrambles. Spicely's more of a I'm going to grab something if you leave it hanging out there.
Yeah, I just think it's a low-level fight, and I think the line is a little bit off. And don't get me wrong, like I said, it's not because I think Spicely's great. I think Spicely is opportunistic and can take advantage of mistakes like he did against Thiago Santos. So if Perez leaves himself susceptible, I think Spicely can catch a choke or something. I mean, just to put anything on Perez in DraftKings or a straight bet or a parlay, in my opinion, is asinine. Look at those metrics. Look at his wins. Look at his losses. There's some narrative here, too. So Spicely's good friend, training partner, Sanchez, has a win over Markus Perez.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it means something. Maybe it doesn't. But at least that should add to his game plan a little bit.
I can't believe he actually beat Thiago Santos.
That's crazy, huh?
I forgot about that until I just saw that right now.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about
Left
that.
a window open, and Spicely took his back, and that's all she wrote. And I'll tell you what, that ruined my night on DraftKings.
Yeah,
ruined a lot of people's night on DraftKings.
Let me just look at the odds real quick. That was Santos. Spicely was plus 400 in that fight.
I believe it.
I can't even believe that at this point. I completely forgot about that fight.
So enough about me. You like Perez in this fight. What is Perez's path to victory?
I think that stuff that he throws on the feet, I think he's going to catch Spicely. I think he'll catch him with like a spinning back kick something, just something in the exchange. He'll because if not, Spicely by decision, out-voluming is probably how he's going to wind up winning the fight. The thing with Perez is he's looking to finish the fight, right? He's not looking to win a fight on points. So he's not looking to win rounds. So that's the thing that kind of annoys me with Perez, because I think he's a better fighter than that. But he's just looking to get the finish and get that $50,000 bonus. So I can see him catching Spicely because I'm not overly excited by his striking.
So I will say this. Wellington Turman is somebody that I'm relatively high on. I think he's a good prospect. And Turman has pretty solid jits. So if Turman can't sub Perez, I'm not too sure that Spicely can. So I don't know. I mean, I was considering Spicely as a dog play on DraftKings, but I don't know. But like you said, I mean, there's the opportunity for scrambles and grappling points, but you know what? Neither of these guys can really wrestle, and they both have good takedown defense. Spicely's at 75%, Perez is 80%. I don't know. I guess my only point is that it's a low-level fight. I think the line is a little bit wide, and Spicely has better metrics across the board. So Spicely is my preferred play, and I think Perez is a mook bet.
Yeah, and again, this is a low-level fight. We're spending way too much
time on it. Let's go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this one to you because I know you love this and you've already bet it. Ray Borg and Nathan Maness. And
how do you know I bet it?
Do you want me to tell everybody?
No.
Oh, I know. And Dr. Beans, I don't know what's going on with the audio. Is a little cracky. I feel like
is that on my end?
I don't know because I hear you fine, and again, maybe it's mine. I don't know if I sound crackly.
You do on my end, yes.
Okay, so maybe it's me. Maybe I need to mute myself. But yeah, what do you think here, Ray Borg and Nathan Maness?
I'm just a Ray Borg guy. I'll take his 4 takedowns per fight against just about anybody. And Simone got the better of him. And Simone, going into that fight, had better grappling metrics. Plus, he was the bigger, stronger guy. But I will say, even in that loss, I thought Borg's striking was significantly improved. And I thought Borg overall looked okay in that fight. In this fight, you have Nate Maness fighting out of Kentucky. He's 5'10", athletic, explosive. The guy can crack, but he fights very upright. Doesn't really have a wide base. I've seen him get taken down in regional fights. And I think that Borg at 5'4" is going to have easy access to the hips. I expect a rinse and repeat takedown victory. I expect between 5 and 10 takedowns, around 100 points on DraftKings, and I think it's a perfect matchup for Borg from what I've seen. I'm a little worried that Borg's going to go in for the takedown and catch an up knee or something like that, because this Maness guy, he can kickbox, and he's super athletic. And the height advantage, 6 inches, that concerns me. The reach advantage is, oh, shit. Yeah, Borg's at 63 inches, and then Maness is at 72. Good Lord. So 9 inches there with the reach. But I think overall, hopefully Borg employs the appropriate game plan, gets the fight to the ground. Maness is going to get back up. And like I said, I think it's going to be a rinse and repeat victory. I am concerned about Maness' striking because, like I said, the guy hits like a fucking truck. But Borg's never been knocked out. I have no reason to believe that he's going to get knocked out on Saturday. And the path to victory is so goddamn clear in this fight. I think Borg more than likely takes a 30-27, maybe even 30-26. And I think he sails to an easy victory. And I placed a fairly large wager on Ray Borg, as you know. Unmute. You're muted, bud. There you go.
Am I back now?
You're back.
Is the crackling voice still there?
Yes.
Sound? Okay. I was trying to try different things, but again, like I said before, it's probably not going to fix itself here, so I apologize. I'll keep muting myself. Yeah, I think CG got it up minus 190. It's minus
Yes.
30, minus 235, and you called that, right? You said I got to hit it now. You were hoping to get it a little bit lower, I think, right? Didn't you throw it to me at like minus 150?
No, it was minus 180 when I initially saw it. I got it at 190, and honestly, like after I placed the bet, I checked like an hour and a half later. It was at minus 220.
Yeah, so I mean, timing was right. And again, once it kind of opened up at DraftKings and Fanduel here, I think that bet was placed. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that Borg needs to get this to the ground. If he gets this to the ground, I think it's going to be smooth sailing. He can strike with him a little bit, but like you said, the threat from Nathan is the striking. So there's no reason to stay there.
Right after I placed that bet, I was listening to James Lynch, who is somebody that I respect in the industry, and he picked Maness, and I was like, God damn. Started to doubt myself for a little bit, and then watched more film, and I just don't see it. It's not like Borg hasn't fought at 135. He fought Casey Kenny at 135, very close fight, took Kenny down, I think it was like 6 times. Kenny pulled off the victory, but obviously could have went either way. Then he beat Gabriel Silva at 135. So Borg's fought at 135. Obviously fought Simone in the last fight. Simone was just bigger and stronger, but Simone's the bigger, stronger wrestler too. Maness isn't going to offer any takedown threat whatsoever. So just hopefully he doesn't have a stupid game plan. Hopefully he gets to the ground quickly and often.
I'll even go a step further. I was cage side for that fight with Kenny. That was in Philly. That was a very, very good fight, and Kenny was very game on the ground. I don't think that that Nathan here is the same ground fighter that Kenny is. But with that said, too, I mean, there's some good lines here. Borg wins by decision is minus 110. I like that line a lot. If you like Borg, you gotta assume it's going to go to decision. Even if you like Borg, but you're worried about, not winning, fight goes the distance. I mean, you got to think you're probably getting the same line, if not a better line, if fight goes the distance as you're going to get on Borg, and he's going to win by decision. But just in case you want a little bit of savings there.
No, Borg by decision at minus 110. That's a great line.
Yeah, no, I do like that. All right, let's move on here. Our next fight. What is our next fight here? Let's get this in. I have too many screens open.
Easy
Ed Herman and Gerald Meerschaert. Is there? I mean, I just watched the last fight I watched this afternoon before I took a little bit of a nap because I was exhausted. Was Ed Herman? I mean, he can take a pounding. He can take an absolute pounding, and I don't think that Meerschaert is the guy that's gonna really pound him out for 3 rounds. I think Meerschaert really has to get him to the ground to win this fight. If it stays in the feet, I think Ed Herman is gonna give him more volume. To be honest with you, and I think that Meerschaert is going to be in for a long night. I could see this being a little bit of a boring fight, just because Meerschaert may try to keep some distance. But for the most part, I don't have a problem with Ed Herman on the feet. The thing is, if it goes to the ground, can Meerschaert get him there? Meerschaert's very good on the ground, lock up the back, lock up a submission. What do you think here, CG?
I agree. I think Ed Herman is tougher than a $2 steak. It's crazy, but Ed Herman was on Ultimate Fighter Season 3, went to the finals, lost to Kendall Grove. I don't know if you were watching that far back, but that's when I really started getting into it. I started getting into the UFC after the Ultimate Fighter Season 1 finale with Forrest and Stephan Bonner. That's when I really got into the Ultimate Fighter reality show. And Ed Herman has been fighting forever. And he used to fight at middleweight. Now he's fighting at 205. Sure, just because he's older and the weight cut's a bitch for him, but he's a very, very well-rounded fighter. I mean, like you said, he's tough. He throws with ferocity. He's a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. I want to say he's a black belt. And I don't know what Meerschaert's going to do to him. And you look at their metrics are extremely comparable. Ed Herman, 3.33 strikes per minute. Meerschaert, 3.31. Ed Herman, takedowns, 2.2 per fight. Meerschaert, 2.3 per fight. I mean, this is even. And you have Meerschaert coming up a weight class. So I think Ed Herman should have the strength advantage. And if it gets into the clinch, Herman is strong in the clinch. That's how he beat Tim Boach with knees. So I don't know. I think it's a very good fight to target on DraftKings because, I mean, most of the time when Meerschaert fights, it ends inside the distance for the most part. So my slight lean is Herman just because I think the odds should be closer to even money. So, yeah, dog or pass.
Well, I'm usually all over the weight changes that go into different, and I missed that. I didn't until you just said it right now. I didn't realize he was going up in weight class.
Yeah, 205.
I like Herman. Yeah, I like Herman even more. You know what it is? The eye test to me is the one thing here. Meerschaert looks more athletic. Herman looks more stiff. So, like when you just said he's a BJJ black belt, he just doesn't look very fluid to me in his movements. So I plus he's also what 39, 40 years old.
He's 39. He's going to be 40 in October.
Yeah, I mean he's, you know, I know how I feel in the morning waking up. My back is killing me and everything else.
Yeah.
So
I was watching Ed Herman when I was in college.
yeah, he's got a lot of.
He's been around forever. Very underrated.
But again, last time out, he put it together, man. He had a great showing.
Yeah, he did.
Frankie Saenz and Frankie Saenz and Jonathan Martinez. How old is Frankie at this point?
He's going to be 40 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And CG, I just feel like the younger Jonathan Martinez, who is getting better. I picked against him his first time out against Sukunkop. But at this point, I think that Jonathan Martinez, in terms of his skill level, his tenacity, who's he training with now? Did he go out to Colorado?
He is training with Gutierrez. So I think they're at Factory X. If I'm not
Factory X, okay. Yeah, I thought they were training together. So I like Jonathan Martinez here. Let me throw the odds up here just so I can see because I'm not off the top of my head. Minus 250. I don't like those odds. If it was more in the minus 130 range, I wouldn't mind that. But minus 250, I don't really like that too much. I think if you're gonna bet anything, I'm gonna throw it to you and look at the props. But I think maybe a Martinez inside the distance play maybe to play here. What do you think, CG?
I'm hearing people say that. I would never pull the trigger on that bet. So Frankie Saenz, one reason I'm a little bit intrigued with him from a DraftKings perspective. Like I said, I would never bet this fight either way. But Saenz is a wrestler. He can get the fight to the ground. Scored very well in his last win against Henry Briones. And Martinez has 33% takedown defense. He's been taken down by Van Buren, Sukumtoth. Not very good against the wrestlers whatsoever. So there's an obvious path for Saenz, but at 40 years old and coming off a vicious knockout loss against Marlon Vera, I don't know how much he has left. One thing that's a little bit misleading, I feel like every time I watch Jonathan Martinez fight, he's very active, pretty good striker, but you look at his striking volume, he's 3.7 strikes per minute. I can't get behind that. No takedown upside, and you average less than 4 strikes per minute. No, I can't do it. So as far as I'm concerned, I might take a couple shots on Saenz just for the wrestling. That's the only play for me. I don't know. Martinez doesn't have that much power. I know he knocked out Pingwan, but I just think that was more of an anomaly than anything else. I don't think that's very predictive. And yeah, I mean, 33% takedown defense going against a wrestler. That goes against all my core values as a MMA bettor.
You make a good point there. You make that good point, but I still think this line is juicy.
It's funny, real quick, not to go off subject. Saenz has a victory over Davashvili, and I think Dvalishvili took him down like 11 times in that fight. And somehow Frankie Saenz pulled off the victory. Don't know how. Don't know how.
That was his first fight, right?
Dvalishvili's first fight, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember that. I remember taping that before he fought in Atlantic City. And that was the fight where he basically won the fight and may have been knocked out right at the end. Remember that one?
Yes. Simone, yep.
I don't know. I like Martinez wins inside distance. I think he's getting better. I actually like him coming off a loss. I think that makes him a little more hungry. Again, he has like long limbs. You know what I mean? He has good knees, can use his elbows. I think he could be a little tricky on the ground. I also think that Saenz is a little bit older there, so I think that Martinez is my play inside the distance. I may actually make a play on that. Emmers, Martinez inside the distance, and Perez inside the distance.
Next fight.
I love it. All right. Well, wait, I have one question for you. You just said before, you've heard around. Where have you heard this from? Is this like a Twitter thing that you've heard? Is this
what?
I don't know. You heard before people saying Martinez inside the distance.
Yeah. I just
who's been
heard
saying
people say that.
Because you say that and then you
don't put me on the spot like that. I definitely heard that because kind of makes sense. Saenz is 40 years old, right, and he was knocked out in his last fight, right? So better days are obviously behind him, and was knocked out viciously too by Vera.
I just like how you never
divulge. I don't put people on blast.
No, yeah, none of
man of respect here.
I don't even know who you heard it from, to be honest with you. I listen to one podcast every single week.
That's it.
One I listen to. Well, I'll listen to others, but that's the one I listen to every week. Others,
I have a rotation. I listen to honestly close to 10.
Do you really?
Yeah, I listen. Yeah, a lot of guys in this community that I respect.
I'll be honest with you. I listen to one, and then I may catch pieces of other, but it's not like I have to listen. I always listen to Anik and Florian. I'm always going back
to
with Ian Parker, and he tells me, like you do, how all my bets are wrong. But that's
Ian's great, yeah.
All right, so the next one, Kevin Holland and Trevin Giles. I'm all over Kevin Holland here. I just think that, again, I kind of have a similar thing to what I said before about Markus Perez. I just wish that he was concerned with winning fights and not styling a little bit too much. And Kevin Holland, he styles too much. Even go back to that Meerschaert fight, which again, I was cage side in Philly for that fight.
Terrible.
Basically lost that fight. Kevin Holland was very lucky to get out of there.
I thought he lost.
I thought he lost too.
Yeah.
With all that being said, I think he's just better than Trevin Giles. Don't give him a chance to get a striking going. I think that Kevin Holland, just go after him, get into some grappling exchanges, and secure a submission. I think that Kevin Holland has good length, and if he just gets into some scrambles, I think he's much better in those scrambles. That's what I think. So I think that if he wants to win this fight early and finish this fight, I think Kevin Holland is going to lock up the submission. What do you think here, CJ?
I agree for the most part. Yeah. So you look at the strikes per minute, Kevin Holland 4.3 compared to Giles at 3.6. I think the wrestling is pretty much nullified, and it comes down to who has the better jits, and it's not even a question. Holland trains under Travis Lutter, who's world renowned at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, had a solid UFC career, and the fight IQ that Giles showcased against Meerschaert was just mind-boggling. I think we were both on Giles in that fight, and Giles is obviously the better striker, or was at that point. Meerschaert is improving his striking a little bit, but I remember there was one point where he just jumped in Meerschaert's guard. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So, not to mention, I thought Giles lost in his last fight against James Krause. I mean, he did lose that last fight. So technically, Giles is on a 3-fight losing streak right now. And both of the guys that he beat, Boknovic and NATO. They're not even in the UFC anymore, as far as I know. And yeah, Holland should win. But like you said, what Holland are you going to get? Are you going to get the Holland that fought Di Chirico and Meerschaert that barely sailed through and, just inched out of victory? Or are you going to get the Holland that came out like a road beater against Fluffy Hernandez? So if the guy can just not be an idiot and take the fight seriously, then I think that Kevin Holland has a good opportunity to win by submission. And there's some narrative in this fight too. So I don't know if you heard this, but Giles is a cop. And because of all the protests and all that stuff, I guess he's been working crazy hours. And for the longest time, he wasn't even able to train. So something to take into consideration. I'm personally not much of a narrative guy, but I think that one's pretty legit. So I would have taken Holland regardless, but if you're on the fence, maybe it's something that you should look into.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good narrative. Again, I don't know who you heard that.
I agree
with the 10
podcasts. So I'll tell you. So that was on the James Lynch podcast.
Oh, okay.
So he interviewed Giles recently, and Giles openly said that. So it's not like a rumor; it's directly from the source.
Yeah, and I just looked up to see if there was a inside the distance line or submission line for Holland, and nothing's posted. So I'm a little surprised that there's no lines out there yet. But I agree with you. What do we got here? Middle four. Bobby Green, Lando Vannata. I really like Bobby Green. I like watching Bobby Green fight. He always brings the fight. And Lando Vannata, he has very good striking. Very impressed with his striking overall. So I think that this fight is interesting because these guys can let the hands fly on the feet with their striking ability. I like Lando Vannata to win this fight. Again, Bobby Green, for whatever reason, just does not have a lot of success on the scorecards. You want to talk about Fight Metric for whatever reason. Fight Metric hates him, and CG hates Fight Metric. But the judges don't seem to really like Bobby Green much either. And again, Lando Vannata has been up and down, right, with his decision wins and losses. So, CG, what do you think here? I'm gonna call out Vannata. I think he's gonna win, and I think he's gonna win by decision. Bobby Green's tough.
Very tough fight to call. So, if you remember the last time these two fought, Vannata put up 85 DraftKings points in a draw, right? But 85 points in a draw. If he pulled off the win, he's looking at 115 points. So the thing about Bobby Green is that he's always initiating the pressure. That works in his favor, but that's also going to work in Vannata's favor as well because it's going to force him to be more active. He took Green down 4 times in his last fight, landed close to 100 significant strikes. And Vannata looked pretty damn good in his last fight against the NC Medeiros too. So, such a tough fight to call, but I do think it's a good fight to target on DraftKings because I think that because of Bobby Green's pressure and strategy that he's just going to force activity, so it's definitely a fight that I recommend targeting. But like you said, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about the judges not liking Bobby Green and decisions not going in his favor. So because of that and because of what Vannata did in their last fight, it was a draw. Vannata scored way more points. I think that you have to give the slight lean to Vannata. One thing that concerns me about Lando, though, is his cardio is typically a concern, where Bobby Green doesn't have any cardio concerns. Guy can fight all day. So, tough fight to call, but yeah, slight lean with Lando.
I'll tell you a line that I like is Lando wins by decision plus 135. I'm going to bet that. I'm writing that down right now. Vannata decision plus 135.
What's the straight line?
Straight line is 45, I believe. Minus
145.
Is that? Yeah, minus 145. You see it up there?
Okay. Yep. Yeah,
Can you
so
see
the
that?
last time that Bobby Green was finished was Poirier, right?
Yeah. Can you see that okay when I put the
I do, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Um, yeah, I really like Vannata, decision. So that'll be another one of my bets. So I'll put that one in later. I haven't put that in yet.
Yeah,
But
Bobby Green is tough to finish. That's for
he's very
sure.
tough. And he's game. You know what I mean? Like you said, he's gonna walk forward. He's gonna come forward. It's gonna be a good one. What do you think here with Luque and Randy Brown? I'll be honest with you. I like both of these guys. I really want to see. I just don't think that Randy Brown can hurt Luque after what I've seen from Luque in some of his previous fights. Is this going to go to the ground? I mean, we all know that Luque is game on the ground. Randy Brown, does he have that suspect chin? Nico Price did beat him with a hammer fist from bottom. Brian Barberena, remember what he did to Luque, and then Luque dropped him at the buzzer, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Barberena, the whole reason that he was damaged goods after that Luque fight because he took a pounding.
They both did.
Yeah, they both did. You're right about that.
Barberena put up 90 points in a loss in that fight.
Yeah, but wasn't he
in a 3-round fight where he was TKO'd
against Randy Brown? Barberena was favored against Randy Brown, right? That was a decent sized upset.
Yes, Barberena was a heavy favorite against Brown.
And Brown against Barberena looked very, very good.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. No, I agree. This is a very, very tough fight. And I think the best way to describe Randy Brown right now would be that evolution. He's evolving his game every fight. I mean, a lot of people had Mickey Gall against him. For the most part, beat Gall up pretty good. Had that unfortunate loss to Nico Price, but bounced back against Barberena, then beats Warley Alves with a triangle choke, right? So, I mean, Brown's looking good in just the size disparity. I mean, Luque's 5'11", Brown is 6'3". I mean, Brown is just a big welterweight. He's athletic. He's tough. He's good at maintaining striking distance, and he's got some good kicks. I mean, Barberena never looked like he was in that fight. No, and I'm a big Barberena fan too. So, but Luque is a different animal. I mean, averages almost, 6 strikes per minute. Excellent Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So, Brown can't make any mistakes from a grappling perspective. Gosh, I mean, gun to my head. I mean, just because he's so battle tested, I would like to say that my lean is Luque, but I'll tell you what, I'm not going to bet this because Randy Brown's a damn good prospect. So, yeah, this fight's a pass for me for the most part from a straight betting perspective, but from DraftKings, I'm not gonna make fun of you if you pick Luque or Randy Brown. I mean, I think this fight is in play in general.
You think this fight finishes minus 165? Fight ends inside distance?
I mean, it could. Luque's never been finished at the UFC level, though.
Yeah, and
I mean, Wonder Boy beat the piss out of him.
Well, what we saw out of,
I mean, there's no quitting Luque.
Yeah, in that Barberena fight. I mean, Barberena, he hit him with everything.
Yeah, so Luque's only UFC losses are to Wonder Boy and then Leon Edwards. So, I mean, 2 top 5 guys. But I just the momentum that Randy Brown brings into this fight concerns me a little bit. And usually Luque is one of my plug and plays, because I'm all about pressure and volume and finishes, and Luque brings all that to the table. But just Randy Brown's been looking damn good. He's so big and athletic at 170. 78-inch reach. Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be the least exposed that I've ever been to Luque.
And Randy Brown, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to look this up real quick, and of course I click on the wrong page. Randy Brown lost to Bilal Muhammad.
Yes.
Okay, I was at that fight. That was in Brooklyn. That was worst card ever. Every time a fight from that card comes up, I remember that was the worst card ever.
Was that the Holly Holm card?
It's the Holly home card, yeah.
Oh
I
God,
can't
yeah,
believe
that's
that
awful.
was the last time
Against GDR.
well, that was the last time I paid for a UFC event because after that I had the credentials. So I paid for that event. My buddies and I went, and that was just terrible.
Yeah, it's rough.
But yeah, complete waste of money. CG, I'm gonna send this next one to you because for whatever reason, these like middle of the road plays, female fighters, I just can't get into. Can't get into the tape. Calderwood and Jennifer Maia. The one thing that I remember hearing, I think Anakin Florian said it. I don't know if it was John Anik or whatever, but Calderwood is kind of putting herself out there, right? She could be next in line for a title shot, and she's taking this fight here. Little risky, and again against a girl like Jennifer Maia, who, if this gets to the ground, she could have the advantage on the ground. So there is a risk. What do you think here?
Yeah, so I think that Calderwood is extremely consistent. You know what you're going to get. She averages over 6 strikes per minute. She lands almost 2 takedowns per fight. She has some good submissions off her back. And Jennifer Maia is good, but just nothing really stands out. Lands just over 4 strikes per minute. Doesn't really offer any takedown upside. So even if Maia pulls off the upset victory in Draftkings, I mean, you'll be lucky to score 70 points, so I just don't know where Maia has any clear advantages. I think Calderwood should win the fight wherever it goes for the most part, unless Maia can get some takedowns and, sustain some top position. But I mean, she doesn't even land more than a takedown per fight. So I just don't foresee that happening. I think Calderwood is a pretty strong play. Straight betting, parlay piece, DraftKings. You look at her DraftKings scoring log, and she's always around 90 to 100 points. And it makes sense when you look at her, strikes per minute. So I think Calderwood's a damn good play. I'm going to be highly exposed to her. So Maia's a complete fade for the most part. And to be honest, I don't know why Calderwood accepted this fight because, like you said, I mean, she was next in line for Shevchenko. But, I mean, who wants to fight that animal right now? You know what I mean? She's truly in a league of her own. Like, I've never seen a division where there's that big of a talent disparity between the champion and the next in line, right?
I agree with that, yeah.
So, who knows? I think the winner of this fight gets the next shot at Valentina. So it should be Calderwood. And I think she's a solid play. Yeah, I don't know what's holding you back.
Holding me back?
Yeah.
I don't like these fights. I don't know what it is. I don't like them. You know what I mean? I don't like taping them. I don't like. I mean, I think Calderwood is the play. I'm minus 160. You kind of convinced me with the striking volume alone. It should be Calderwood by decision, in my opinion. She's not going to want to go to the ground. Is she going to knock Maia out? I mean, I doubt.
What's that line? That's a great line. What is it?
Minus 160. Calderwood minus 160, or the
no, by decision.
Minus 105, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which again,
I would just do minus 160 at that point.
Yeah, I take the minus 160. I wish it was plus money. If it was like plus 120, I'd probably hit that one. What? I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna consider that one. Calderwood minus 160. I may put up my betting package early this week. Yeah, I think you convinced me with that one. I'm worried about Maia. If this goes to the ground, because you said Calderwood it has a good ground game off her back, but Maia, man, I don't want to mess around with her. So what do you think here? Is this Shahbazyan's coming out party? Brunson? I remember back in the day, Brunson was favored against Whitaker, and for whatever reason, did not respect his power. He paid for that one. Obviously Brunson wasn't favored against Israel Adesanya, But, for whatever reason, again, Brunson didn't really respect Izzy's power. Took the brunt of that one. I feel like the third time's a charm here. I feel like this is going to happen again. What do you think here, CG? Edmund or Derek?
It took me a while to hop on the bandwagon, but I'm finally there. I think Shahbazyan's a good play. It wasn't until the Marshman fight that I really hopped on board. Just because his wins before that, were Darren Stewart. That's when Darren Stewart completely sucked. Darren Stewart's looked a lot better in his last couple fights, but then it was Charles Byrd, and I was like, maybe that fight was kind of an anomaly. And then he just completely torched Marshman and then completely torched Tavares. So his talent is no longer up for debate at this point. I mean, the kid's metrics are through the roof, 4.1 strikes per minute. It's showing like 7 takedowns per fight. I mean, dude, the kid he was born in 1997, for Christ's sake. I was in junior high getting hand jobs at the movie theater, and Edmund Shahbazyan wasn't even born yet. God, he is so young and talented. Big kid, 6'2". Yeah, Brunson, I think for the most part, he's done. I mean, his win against Heinisch was somewhat impressive, but it was just a very, very boring fight. And, got up a couple rounds, and then in the third round kind of ran away from Heinisch the entire time. So that his corner men are completely changing his game plan. It's no longer, hey, Derek, don't go in guns blazing anymore because you're going to get knocked out like you did against Whitaker, against Adesanya, and even Jacare. So, I mean, he's fighting more intelligently, but yeah, I think he's biting off more than he can chew at this point. Edmund really hasn't shown much of a weakness at this point. Maybe his cardio was a little bit suspect against Darren Stewart, but I mean, still managed to pull off the victory. And Darren Stewart's not a very easy opponent for your first ever UFC fight. So, yeah, I mean, I'm rambling at this point, but I think Shahbazyan's the play. And last I checked this morning, you can get Shahbazyan inside the distance at -190. I was about to pull the trigger on that, but keep in mind, it's only 3 rounds. It's not a 5-round fight.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, because the main event was Holly Holm and Irene Aldana. That fight was scrapped, and so somebody, Shahbazyan or Brunson, did not agree to a 5-round fight. I would love to know who that was, but so that kind of changed things. I think I'm going to hold off on that bet because, like I said, Brunson has been much more timid in his last couple of fights.
And that's -210
inside the distance for Shahbazyan.
Yeah, so it's up to -210 at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that's the probable outcome. I think he beats Brunson. To be honest, I think he does it in the first round.
Oh, really?
I do, yeah.
You don't
do. His last 3 wins were inside the first round, right?
Yeah. But again, level of competition, I think it's of a different.
No, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, that's one of the reasons that I'm not pulling the trigger just yet.
I mean, would you say that Derek Brunson against Ian Heinisch, he fought a smart fight? Yeah, I would even go 2 fights in a row against Theodoro, who he's not doing anything crazy by beating out Elias Theodoro, but you have to fight Theodoro a certain way. There has to be a game plan against Ian Heinisch. He for the most part really peppered him most of that fight, and beat him convincingly. You know what I mean? Both unanimous decisions, I believe.
I thought the Heinisch fight was a little bit closer, but Brunson definitely deserved the win. That's for sure. But
I feel like Brunson later,
the last round, he was running away from him.
But he knew he had the fight. No.
Yeah. Still doesn't make it right in my book, but
no, I don't disagree. But I think he knew he had the fight, and he wanted to get that win.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm curious to see what happens when Shahbazyan is truly tested and has to overcome adversity. Because if Brunson catches him with that straight right, I mean, that can knock anybody out. So Shahbazyan's young. He should be able to recover, but interesting fight. I just think Shahbazyan's the real thing. He can wrestle. He has submissions. We know he can crack. That kick against Tavares was lightning fast. Lightning fast. Lead left roundhouse kick. I think that's what it was. Yes. And just lightning fast.
Now, let me ask you this.
And as we know, Brunson's not very good at defending the head kick, right? Whitaker, Adesanya, Jacare. Learn at this point.
Wasn't that the whole game plan against Jacare, not to get finished by the head kick, and got finished by the head kick twice?
Right. You would think, yes.
That's like all we heard on the telecast.
He kind of blocked it, but yeah.
Well, he didn't block it that well.
Didn't block it enough, that's for sure.
So let me ask you this. Are you putting out any other DraftKings stuff this week? You on any other podcast doing anything else?
Nothing, no.
Just working. Way too much work.
Way too much work. Been working like crazy. I worked right up into the start of this podcast show, and I'm actually going away this weekend for 7-year anniversary. So we're going to the west side of the state in Michigan, and I'm going to hang out on the beach. I'm actually going to be there 2 weekends in a row. So this coming weekend with the wife, next weekend golf trip with the fellas. So
no kids,
time to relax, and yeah.
Jesus,
2 consecutive weekends with no kids.
That's
so crazy. The first time in like a fucking year. So whatever, I deserved it.
All right, let me ask you this one now. If you were to enter a big DraftKings tournament, who would your score be this week?
Wow, look at you putting me on the spot. Well, obviously I like Durden.
Well, listen, I'm not really putting you on the spot. You did start off the conversation this week talking DraftKings real early in the week. So you've had some time to think about this.
Okay, so core. You want me a core is either 3 or 4 fighters. So I like Durden.
I'll put up some fighters here. You let me know who you like for DraftKings. This is the bottom 4 fights. What do you think?
Durden just frees up so much room, so I like him.
Okay.
I like Borg.
Mm-hmm.
I like Shahbazyan.
Oh, okay, so you went all the way. So I'm going to call this the Jersey Boys MMA Media DraftKings show, and CG's just going to tell you who to play. So that's your top 4. How about your middle 4? Anybody here you really like in DraftKings? Frankie?
No.
Herman? I like Herman as a dog play.
I like Herman too. I like Holland. I'll tell you what, Green and Vannata. The winner of that fight, if there is a winner, hopefully it doesn't go to a draw again, but the winner of that fight should score highly just because of the pace. So
it's a decent play in DraftKings because either way, you're figuring high pace and decision, no?
Yes, I would say so.
Is it a stack fight?
I would say so. Like I said, if Vannata won the fight, if it didn't go to a draw, Vannata puts up 115 points in that fight.
Well, again,
if he gets a 30-point decision win. So just not sure that he does. Bobby Green, I think, is a very underrated fighter.
But is that a fight to stack? I mean, that's a great cash stack, especially since there's no 5-round main event. Cash stack, Bobby Green, Vannata.
I'd be okay with that stack, yeah.
All right, so let's go top 3. I know you said you like Shahbazyan. Obviously, you think you're getting a finish.
So I only gave you 3 plays. I'll give you my 4th.
Go ahead.
Not going more than that.
All right.
4th play would be Calderwood. So Shahbazyan, Borg, Calderwood, and Durden.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
And I'm going to force you to pick one winner right now. Is it Luque or is it Randy Brown? You did a lot of dancing. You did a lot of dancing a few minutes ago.
I'm still dancing. I don't know. I have to stay true to the numbers. So Vicente. I'm just not. The thing is, like, that Barberina fight against Randy Brown is just throwing me off. Barberina could not get inside at all. And guess what? I'm not going to compare Randy Brown to Wonder Boy, but why did Luque lose that fight against Wonder Boy? Luque could not get inside at all. I just think the size disparity is going to play a big role.
I'm pretty sure I picked Randy Brown against Barberena. I know I played him in DraftKings. I don't know if I picked him to win or I just said he was a good DraftKings play. Because again, he took a lot of damage against Luque.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I mean, since that, Luque's incurred a lot of damage. That fight against Mike Perry.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Luque's been in way too many wars. Even that last fight against Nico Price. I mean, Luque won handily, but still absorbed a lot of punches in that fight too. So
Luque's still young though too, right? Is he even 30 yet?
No, Luque is young too, but he just needs to preserve himself a little bit. For a while there, I mean, I felt like he was on the cusp, right? I mean, he had a fight against Wonderboy. If he wins that fight, he's in the title talk, at least in the top 5.
Well, we were talking about who was it? We were talking about it was the middle 4, right? Some guys in their 40s. Ed Herman's almost in his 40s. Frankie's almost in his 40s. I don't think he's going to be fighting into his 40s.
But you know what, though? I mean, I counted out Fabricio last week. Shit. Made easy work of Gus. So,
yeah, but
say that age is only a number.
Again, Gus wasn't wearing.
And Rogerio, I thought Rogerio could have easily taken that decision too at like 49 years old or whatever the hell he is.
Gus didn't wear that weight very well.
No.
And Fabricio was able to take advantage of that, get his hands on him, and then, I mean, we kind of knew. If you told me they were having a grappling match, I would have said, all right, Fabricio's there. Fabricio made their grappling. Smart game plan.
Yeah, just Fabricio looked so terrible against Oleinik in the fight before. I watched that fight, and just Fabricio looked like an old man. I was like, he's had a great run, but it's over. And then he comes back and beats Gus. So still some gas left in the tank, apparently.
All right, so we're going to end that broadcast here. We got some good takes by CG. And, hopefully if there's one card a week, we can commit to doing this moving forward. Jersey Boys MMA Media, the DraftKings Fanduel, or I wouldn't mind going to Barstool either, getting a little bit of a deal there, working off with them, getting some T-shirts, some swag. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to apply again. All right.